Alright, this is Christopher Fox once again, and Megan here. And welcome back to another video. This is another request to sign for Jezebel 321. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm terrible with names, but and the name of the video is Top 10 Most Disturbing Films Ever Made. I can tell you tons of them, but let's see which one he picks.
Bodies in your favorite horror movie were fake?
Yeah. Evil Dead.
You probably thought your favorite creepy movie was made of special effects and fake blood and bodies.
Isn't it?
But the truth is, some directors have done the unthinkable to make their creations as realistic as possible.
Oh,
in
really?
fact, some of them are a bit too real.
A
These
bit.
are the
Not a
10
lot,
most
just a bit.
disturbing films ever made. Number 1 is Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh yeah,
One of the most truly disturbing films
I hate
ever
that
made,
movie.
As it turns
It
out,
grosses me out
took
so
it
much.
a bit
I hate
too
it.
far. So far, in fact, that some lives were really lost.
Animals.
Released on February 7th, 1980, Cannibal Holocaust
It's an awful movie,
horror
man.
film directed by Ruggero Deodato. The movie became the subject of controversy over the incredibly realistic and truly graphic violence.
I wonder if Teeth is on this list.
Throughout the 96-minute runtime. In fact, Deodato was actually
And that's the green in
arrested
front of it. It ain't
shortly
even
after
the same
film
movie.
Premiered due to many people believing that some actors
That movie was
actually
fucked too.
died on camera, mostly because the violence appeared to be really happening. He was later cleared, but the movie was still banned in multiple countries. Despite the actors surviving making the film,
Please don't show any
turns out
pictures of
it
that
was
turtle.
in fact the animals that really suffered, with much of the brutality towards them actually committed.
It's disgusting.
Number 2 is Pink Flamingos.
Yeah, I watched a review of this
Initially
movie, and this
released on
movie's
March
fucked up
17th,
too.
1972, Pink Flamingos is a disgusting movie created by John Waters, who produced, wrote, shot, edited, and directed it, likely because nobody else wanted in on its creation.
I wonder why.
This self-proclaimed American comedy follows a drag queen character named Babs Johnson, who must defend her title as the filthiest person alive against a few other people who, for some bizarre reason, really want to steal it from her. In one incredibly disgusting scene,
why would you sell that
characters
picture,
consume dog
man?
feces, a prop that has, since then, been confirmed to have been 100% real.
That's disgusting.
That's right, the actors ate real.
Unless you're Nick Basin, I would say you would probably throw up at this scene. Unless you have a fucking scat fetish.
Dog feces on camera. Number 3 is Visitor Q.
I've never heard of this movie.
Only $60,400, Visitor Q was released on March 17, 2001, and contains everything that you'd expect from a film to make this list. This Japanese black comedy slash drama slash horror film by director Takashi Miike delves into the dark, incestual lives of a truly sick family through the use of the popular found footage gimmick that we saw from the Blair Witch Project. Crafted to resemble a low-budget documentary, Visitor Q includes scenes of rape, prostitution, drug use, and even necrophilia, all committed by members of this family, often with other members of the family and the infamous Visitor Q. But in one truly stomach-churning scene, the father, Kayoshi, comments on how easy it was for him to physically have sex with a corpse due to something corpses naturally do soon after dying, the voiding of their bowels.
Number
That's 4 is I Spit on Your Grave.
Who hasn't heard of this one?
Produced, directed, and edited
I like the remake
by
better, though.
I Spit on Your Grave
this
was
one's too
released
visceral
on
for me.
November
I like the
22nd
remake,
of
though.
1978, and was almost immediately met with controversy, most notably due to its incredibly graphic
I like the remake because it has less of the raping and more of the revenge, you know.
Violence and a far too long scene involving a sexual assault. Also known as Day of the Woman, what makes this film even more disturbing is that the victim of the sexual assaults turns things around on her attackers by seducing them and mutilating each of them in grotesque ways. In one scene, after burying an axe in a man's back, She used the motorized propeller of a small boat's engine to disembowel another.
Yeah,
This movie is
fucked up.
considered by many, including critics such as Roger Ebert, to be one of the worst films ever made. Number 5,
not the worst, but
Flowers of Flesh and Blood.
I've never seen this
film
either.
Was actually one in a 6-part film
I haven't heard of this movie.
Japan
I don't think.
Called Guinea Pig. This dark and graphic series
I know it's
was
hostile
produced by
related
Hideshi
type of
Hiro,
thing.
who also starred in and directed the film. The second film in the Guinea Pig series, Flowers of Flesh and Blood, was released on November 30th, 1985. This movie follows Hiro as he dresses as a samurai, drugs a woman, and then kidnaps her. At his home, the man then cuts her into pieces and adds them to his collection of body parts. This movie is so realistically gruesome that actor Charlie Sheen, the tiger-blooded wizard himself, was convinced that the murder was real.
Wow.
He was so disturbed that he notified the FBI about the killing soon after seeing it in the early 90s.
That is
no
insane.
charges were ever actually filed, some people still believe that the producers should be arrested over making something so horrific.
I wouldn't agree. I would agree.
Number 6 is Caligula.
Never heard of this either.
This film
Caligula.
is one of the most widely known disturbing films in existence, partly because of the fact that there are multiple well-known actors in it, including Dame Helen Mirren, Peter O'Toole, and Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell?
As the main character. Considered to be a pornographic historical
God.
drama, Caligula is an Italian-American film directed by Tinto Brass. Initially released on August 14, 1979, this movie is still, to this day, banned in multiple countries due to its graphic content, which includes graphic, unsimulated sex scenes and hardcore nudity.
Yeah,
Additionally,
I'm not watching that
claim
shit.
that the film is incredibly negative, offering no saving scenes of happiness of any kind, which just adds to how disturbing it is. The controversy should come as no surprise when you hear that the film was the first and only one produced by the gentleman's magazine Penthouse. In fact, most of the real sex scenes involve Penthouse pets as extras.
Wow.
Number 7 is Martyrs.
I actually own Martyrs. I actually like this movie quite a bit.
In September 3rd, 2008, globally, Martyrs is a French
Hate the remake, but the original was really good.
Writer-director Pascal Laugier.
It was disturbing as hell, but I actually really I actually really liked the first, or the original Martyrs. It didn't disturb me as much as I thought it was going to, but I liked it.
Martyrs takes viewers to a very
It's one of the few
place,
horror movies I can handle
delving
with
into
torture.
harsh subjects like psychological torture, physical torture, graphic violence, suicide, and mental illness. Considered a good example of the new era of French horror, the film tells the story of two girls, Anna and Lucy, on the run from people who had Lucy locked up and repeatedly abused her. Lucy believes that she's being pursued by a ghoul.
And she's went ape shit on people with that shotgun, man.
Homes and kills all the occupants with a shotgun. But it becomes even darker as the ghoul becomes persistent and Lucy ends up committing suicide.
Yeah.
The other girl, Anna, is eventually captured by a cult and skinned alive as a type of sacrifice in what proved to be the most stomach-wrenching scene in this film.
It was gross, but
Number 8
the effects
is
are great.
Romantic.
Never.
Now we're going to reach
I've
the
seen this poster
sickest
before,
of
but
the
never
sick.
heard of this movie
In fact,
though.
This movie makes
I'm not
almost
sure
anyone
if
who
I've
watches
seen.
it or hear of it physically ill. One of the characters in
It's
this
that
movie
bad?
actually dies after being accidentally shot during the beginning of the movie. But that didn't stop him from being in all of the sex scenes that came after it. Released on November 1st, 1987, this West German horror exploitation film was co-written and directed by Jörg Buttgereit and contained a fairly simple plot. A man brings home a fresh corpse for he and his sicko girlfriend to play with. In this truly disturbing film, a man who cleans up dead bodies decides to bring home a corpse of a gardener, which his girlfriend uses to please herself in very graphic ways. But you may be wondering, how does she pull this off? Well, with a steel
Even
pole
Terrifier was just
inserted
fucking
inside
bad.
the man's body. The film also contains scenes where the girlfriend bathes in blood. A rabbit is graphically slaughtered.
Not the animals, man. Why
as
the
he
rabbit?
pleases himself.
Rabbits are cute.
Number 9 is Salo. This
I've
film
heard of
is
this
widely
movie too.
regarded
I
as the
refuse to
most
fucking watch
disgusting
it too.
movie of all time. Also known as 120 Days of Sodom, Salo was first released in Italy on November 22nd, 1975, though only a handful of countries allow it in their theaters. This Italian
Why was this in theaters, period, though?
unleashed on the world under the guise of being an art piece. The movie is apparently a journey through the darkest places in the filmmaker's mind. And that darkness includes teenagers being brutally tortured, both physically and mentally, graphic nudity, and horrific violence. The scenes are so realistic, it had many viewers believing that the producers had the actors actually mutilated. Like others on this list, Salo is still banned in a number of countries. In this case, though, it was mostly due to the fact
that is too real,
almost
for
all
sure.
the unsettling occurrences
man.
seem to happen to actors younger than 18 years old. Salo's director, Pier Paolo Pasolini, was murdered just 3 weeks before the art piece was released, and the circumstances surrounding his death are a mystery even today.
Rest in peace.
And number 10 is The Human Centipede. Of all of the films on this list,
the sequels are way more gruesome and horrific, man. This ain't the most
The Human
horrific.
Centipede has the honor of being the one you've most likely already heard of or seen. Written, produced, and directed by Tom Six, this vomit-inducing horror film was released on August 30th,
I watched it 1,000
2009,
times, and I find it more
went
funny
on to
than
make all
gross,
of us
if you ask
gay
me.
at simply hearing the premise. In the movie, Dr. Joseph Hyder, a
That's
twisted
disgusting,
ex-surgeon who used to specialize in separating conjoined twins, wants to make his fantasy a reality. His fantasy being a series of human beings sewn together mouth to anus to form a disgusting chain that he calls the human centipede. He obtains volunteers by drugging and kidnapping 3 tourists.
The third one, there's like
2
50,000
American
people, and
and
they call it
1
the human
Japanese.
caterpillar.
Soon after, he goes to work assembling his creation. He pulls this off, and his success makes most of the audience quite ill, especially when the man at the front of the chain suddenly needs to defecate. So, those were the 10 most disturbing films of all time. However, there is one more film that you need to know about. There is a movie called A Serbian.
Oh, I heard
The
you didn't even mention that
contents
movie.
of this film are so dark and disturbing, I literally did not even feel comfortable enough to describe it to you in this list.
I can understand that. I hate that movie
I do not
too.
recommend
I
looking
tried watching
it up. It does exist in its entirety right now on YouTube.
How was that allowed on YouTube, man? I don't understand this shit.
But as always, I want to know, have you seen any of the films on this list?
I've seen most of them,
Or
some of
are
them.
there any other disturbing films that exist that deserve to be on
Yes.
this list? Leave a comment below because I'll be reading through them and I'm going to pin the best one at the top. Thank you guys very much for coming by today. Remember to come by tomorrow and every weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I'll have a brand new video for you. I'll see you then.
Alright, man. Most of these I haven't heard of. Some of them I think I've heard of, but I've forgotten about. The only one on this list I can watch is probably The Human Centipede and Martyrs. I actually find those movies super interesting and really well done. But the rest of them I can't watch. Too disturbing, especially the ones with real animals. Why do you guys go with the fucking animals? You know, stick with fiction or makeup. Don't kill animals on fucking... Or eat dog shit unless you're Nick Bates. If you guys want a palette cleanser, here is Megan. I was real adorable in this. If you guys want a good palette cleanser, here's Megan. But seriously, most of these I've heard of, but I'll have the desire to watch. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Stay tuned for the last video I'm going to post today, and see you then. Peace out.